They said the drama ended when the checkered flag dropped at Watkins Glen. They were dead wrong. Because what unfolded after that race, on pit road, in front of the cameras, in front of the crews, that's the moment NASCAR cannot stop talking about. Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell. Face to face, words flying, emotions erupting, and somebody caught every single second of it on camera. Watkins Glen International. One of the most demanding, most punishing road courses on the entire NASCAR Cup Series calendar. A track where focus is everything, where one miscalculation can destroy your lap, your points, your entire afternoon. This was not just another Sunday race. With the playoff cutoff hanging over half the field like an executioner's axe, every single point is life or death. Every position, every restart, every corner entry matters more than the last. And on this particular Sunday, Bubba Wallace, the man who has spent his entire career demanding respect, found himself at the center of something that went far beyond a simple racing incident. This was personal. But how did we get here? What actually happened out on that track? And why did two of NASCAR's most recognizable, most talked about drivers end up exchanging heated words on pit road after the race? Stay right here, because this story runs much deeper than it first appears. Here's what the television broadcast showed you. Contact. Chaos. A race that unraveled in the blink of an eye. But here's what the broadcast never showed you. The radio transmissions, the crew chief conversations, the frustration that had been quietly building for dozens of laps before anything even made contact. Was this a racing incident, pure and simple? Or was this the final match dropped into a powder keg that had been filling for weeks? We'll get there. But first, let's go back to where this all began. The race started clean. Almost beautiful. Wallace, starting from a respectable position, looked comfortable from the opening lap. His 2311 Racing Toyota was working, stable through the slow sections, composed through the S's, pulling strong down the back straightaway. His team had prepared well, and it showed. Christopher Bell, meanwhile, was on his own mission entirely. Running for Joe Gibbs Racing, the reigning champion with a target permanently fixed to his back, Bell had been methodical all afternoon. Calculated. Precise. The kind of driver who makes road course racing look effortless when everything clicks. For the opening stage, the two ran their own races. Clean. Respectful. Professional. Chess, not combat. Then everything shifted. A late race restart, tires beginning to lose their edge, and two drivers who both absolutely needed this result. Lapped traffic tangled the field. Lanes disappeared. The pack compressed. And then came the contact. The kind that travels straight through the steering wheel, through the seat, through your entire body before your brain even registers what happened. Wallace's car got loose. He fought it. He nearly saved it. But nearly is not enough at Watkins Glen, and his afternoon, one he had been carefully constructing for hours, fell apart in seconds. Positions vanished. Points disappeared. And somewhere on that track, Bell went to his radio. You can imagine what was said. Now here's where the story gets genuinely interesting. Because NASCAR's official timing and scoring painted one picture immediately after the race. The replays showed something slightly different. And the people standing in that garage, the ones with the best view of everything, they're describing a third version entirely. Was the contact intentional? Was it a Wallace mistake under pressure? Or had Bell created the circumstances that made contact nearly inevitable? The honest answer depends completely on who you ask. And that disagreement, that fundamental split in perspective, is precisely what ignited the confrontation that followed. Post-race, the garage area at Watkins Glen. Engines ticking as they cool, crews methodically breaking down pit equipment, the organized chaos that follows every Cup Series event. Then Wallace appears, not accompanied by a PR representative, not surrounded by team officials. Just Wallace, expression tight, eyes sharp and locked in. Bell sees him. What followed was not a handshake. It was not a friendly exchange of apologies. It was not the kind of carefully managed, hey, it's just racing conversation that press releases are built from. Real words were exchanged. Words that have not been fully reported anywhere. The footage captured by multiple fan cameras, footage currently spreading across NASCAR social media, tells the story of two drivers who are genuinely unsettled by how this afternoon ended. Sources with direct access to both teams are describing it as heated. One individual who was standing in the garage at that exact moment called it the most intense post-race exchange of this entire season. And this has already been a season full of intense moments. Wallace, who has never once backed away from confrontation, who has spoken publicly and passionately about earning respect in this sport, gave absolutely nothing. No ground conceded. No diplomatic retreat. For nearly 90 seconds, these two drivers stood at the center of NASCAR's universe. Then they walked away. But the fallout, that is only beginning. Within 30 minutes of that footage spreading online, NASCAR social media ignited completely. Fan reactions divided almost instantly along familiar lines. Bell supporters labeling it reckless, unnecessary contact. Wallace supporters arguing Bell's own positioning created the entire situation. Within an hour, the clip had accumulated thousands of shares across every platform. By Sunday evening, the conversation had entirely consumed NASCAR's online space. Several of the sport's most followed fan accounts declared it the single most dramatic post-race moment of the current season. Others went considerably further, suggesting this conflict carries history that extends well beyond one afternoon at Watkins Glen. Reactions from other drivers in the paddock arrived carefully worded. Nobody publicly chose a side, but the deliberate silence from several of Bell's closest garage allies communicated something clearly. NASCAR officials confirmed they reviewed the incident and issued no formal penalty at this stage, though that review remains active. Given the playoff mathematics currently in play, do not expect this to simply disappear quietly. Crew chiefs, spotters, and engineers all heard exactly what moved across those radio frequencies. And in this sport, those conversations have a consistent way of eventually surfacing. Here is what this genuinely means going forward. For Bell, the points damage from Watkins Glen arrives at the worst possible moment. Defending a championship requires consistency, and you cannot absorb unnecessary losses when your competitors are gaining ground simultaneously. The mathematics are completely unforgiving. But beyond the numbers, there is a momentum question that matters equally. Championships are not decided purely on spreadsheets. They are decided in the mental space a driver occupies heading into the next race weekend. Bell carries this weight now into every remaining event on the schedule. For Wallace, the situation is equally complicated. 23XI Racing desperately needed a strong result, and this afternoon had genuine potential before it unraveled. But if NASCAR's ongoing review determines any fault, or if this confrontation calcifies into a defining public narrative, then the result gets buried under the controversy. In professional motorsport, perception causes damage just as real as any official penalty. For the broader NASCAR landscape, this matters enormously. Two of the sport's most compelling, most marketable personalities are now in visible conflict heading directly into the most important stretch of the season. This is exactly the kind of storyline that pulls casual fans into races they would otherwise ignore. NASCAR has a genuine ratings opportunity and a genuine drama problem occupying the exact same garage space simultaneously. But here is the question nobody is asking loudly enough yet. Is Watkins Glen an isolated incident, or is it simply the visible surface of something that has been accumulating between these two drivers, these two teams, these two programs, for considerably longer? People connected to both camps have hinted carefully, always with plausible deniability, that the relationship between Bell's circle and Wallace's circle has not been genuinely comfortable for some time. Racing incidents stack up, frustrations compound, and in a sport operating at these margins, under this pressure, that accumulation always eventually finds its moment to release. Was Sunday that moment? Or was it simply a preview of something larger still approaching? Here is where we leave you tonight. Bubba Wallace has spent his entire professional career fighting for legitimacy, for acknowledgement, for the recognition that he belongs at this level. He is not going to accept a villain narrative without a fight. And Christopher Bell is a proven champion who has overcome deficits that looked impossible and found ways to win anyway. But he has never walked across a garage quite like he walked across that one at Watkins Glen. These two drivers will share the same track, the same garage, the same pit lane at every single race remaining between now and the playoff cutoff. The question is not whether this situation boils over again. The question is when, and what it costs both of their seasons when it does. Is this rivalry about to completely reshape the back half of NASCAR's 2026 season? Or is there something even larger, something still hidden, something we have not yet seen, that is about to fundamentally change everything we believe we understand about both of these drivers. If you want to be the first to know when it breaks, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. Every confrontation, every controversy, every moment this sport would rather keep quiet, we bring it directly to you. No filler, no spin, just the story. We'll be watching. See you in the next one.